And it's something that I want to say, and I think I'll say it in the next video because I do Unpopular Opinions, which is like a video series I do. Maybe you've seen it. And it's just
Yes.
kind of hilarious because every single time, every other month when I post asking for the opinions, you can tell which girl, has made a name for herself and who hasn't. Because it's like, I hate Tate McRae. I hate Ice Spice. Unpopular opinion. I don't like Sabrina Carpenter. I'm like, you can read through this comment section alone. Y'all pick a girl and hate her every other month, and it switches every time.
So over the weekend, I made a post on my community tab asking my subscribers which artist they feel like has received unnecessary hate after achieving a certain level of mainstream success. And the example that I gave in the post was Doechii, which we're going to talk about today, but you guys had a lot to say, and I definitely noticed some patterns in the responses that people were giving. For example, I saw a lot of reoccurring names in responses, so like Megan Thee Stallion, Sabrina Carpenter, Chappell Roan, also just like observations on groups of artists, so like women or black women in particular. And so today I want to talk about, I guess, the art of hating and the internet machine. And so to help me break it all down today, I have a very special guest, Naomi Cannibal. If you watch me, you probably watch Naomi, but if you don't watch Naomi, you should go subscribe to her. Her information is in the description down below. So we're gonna talk all about, artists and popularity and criticism and stan culture and all of those wonderful things. So thank you so much again to Naomi for joining me for this video. One of the first things I want to break down here is the reason why I posted this question in the first place. That reason being that a popular artist named Doechii is getting a lot of hate in online fandom spaces right now.
2910 East Genesee Street, where niggas mix weed with they nicotine treats. I wish I had a soda and a dime piece beach, so I could just get back and sit my lime in peace.
Doechii has been rapping since 2016, but she's recently been on the come up for a couple of reasons, similar to Chappell Roan's rise in popularity last year. I mean, she's been pretty popular on social media. There's probably a couple of TikTok songs from back in the day that you didn't realize were Doechii projects. But in the last couple months, she had her NPR Tiny Desk, she had a feature on a Katy Perry song, and of course, she was nominated at the Grammys this year for her mixtape Alligator Bites Never Heal, becoming the third woman ever to win the Grammy for Best Rap Album. Doechii was also nominated in the Best New Artist category, which means that she had the opportunity to perform along with the other nominees in front of the Grammys audience, and her show, however short it was probably one of the better received performances of the night. And so since then, she's like kind of been everywhere. But we can't have nice things. No. We can never have nice things. But before we get there, I want to take a sec to thank today's wonderful sponsor, Midas Merge. Listen, the world is stressful, life is stressful. I don't need to tell you that, but what I do need to tell you is that you need to download this perfect, cozy mobile game to be your fun little distraction from the ills and chaos of the world. Midas Merge is a free-to-play, fun, and relaxing mobile game with the most adorable little creatures and items. It's super fun, adorable, and really easy to pick up and play. In Midas Merge, you team up with King Midas and Queen Laia to revive the Gardens of Gold, which are under the shadow of Nyx, the goddess of night. Spooky, but she's also a very beautifully designed character. Anyway, unravel Nyx's mystery as you merge sunburst to brighten the garden and free its inhabitants. There are so many cute little creatures in this game that really bring the world to life. Like, look at this guy. It's a U-turtle. He rules! Midas Merge is completely free to download and perfect for offline play. You can dive into your beautiful little enchanted garden anytime, anywhere, no Wi-Fi needed. Plus, Midas Merge is an ad-free experience with no dead ends, ensuring that you are always merging and always exploring without any interruptions. So you are progressing and having fun on your own time. So I am teaming up with Midas Merge for a great opportunity to help you get started. Be among the first 100 to install the game via my link or a QR code and receive a unique U-turtle level 2. This little creature boosts your garden progress and will be personalized with my name. This game is so fun, wholesome, cozy, and rewarding, and I really think that you guys are going to enjoy it. So thank you so much to our friends at Midas Merge for sponsoring today's video. Okay, so the two main criticisms that I've seen about Doechii are that she copies other artists and that she's an industry plant. So we're going to break both of those accusations down in a way that is specific to Doechii and her career, but then also talk about instances in which this discourse is applied to other female artists. Alright, so we're gonna get into the nitty-gritty here of why people are criticizing Doechii. And before I go any further, I just want to say, the Barbs. I come in peace to the Barbs. Please don't hurt me. I'm an open-minded individual. I'm trying my best here. All love to the Barbs. Thank you. So from what I understand, this Doechi's copying other people's sound argument first came into the picture a couple days ago when a Twitter user posted a video compilation comparing Doechi's songs to snippets of Nicki Minaj's songs. I can't play any of it for copyright. Sorry, it's in the description. Go watch it so you can have an informed opinion, thanks. Now, I'm just gonna say it, and again, Barbs, I come in peace. I'm trying to understand the argument here with an open mind. However, I feel like whenever a new female rapper, comes onto the scene, explodes in popularity, they always get the Nicki Minaj comparison, especially if they have like a quirky voice affectation in some of their bits of their songs. I see the comparison a lot with both Doechii and Doja Cat. I also see the Nicki comparison a lot when it comes to Megan Thee Stallion, but to me, Megan and Nicki have never sounded anything alike. And here's the thing, I get it. Nicki Minaj was massively influential, not in just the world of female rap, but in the world of rap in general. And a lot of these younger rappers, Doechii included, have credited Nicki Minaj with inspiring their flow and their sound.
I kind of hate the idea that, this artist, they've done something similar to an artist who came before them. So now they're a copycat and now they're uninspired and unoriginal, because if we take it back, 15 years, everyone was saying this same thing about Nicki Minaj, that she was just a Lil Kim ripoff. It's just very cyclical. And I feel like almost 2 years ago, I did a video on Doechii because people were saying that she was copying Azealia Banks. And I was like, I don't necessarily, even though I can say the similarities, I'm not going to sit here now I don't see any similarities or everyone's just making it up, because I don't believe that. But I also think when you are starting out in something, when you're just making a name for yourself, typically your work is going to align with the people that you're inspired by. I remember when I did the Doechii video, I was making this comparison about artists, like actual painters and drawers. They learn how to become artists by tracing the work of another master. So it's a very similar thing, where in order to find your own flavor, find your own style, you probably are going to have to use someone else's training wheels in a sense, because if you don't know what to do, you can't just make something out of nothing. So I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. I would think that it could be difficult to not emulate people that you're inspired by, because I copy a lot of people, not their content, but just their phrasing, maybe the way that they dress. And because millions of people aren't watching what I'm doing, no one's really going to call that out in a sense. And saying all that, I do think that we're in a spot now that we're years down the line where I was I think Doechii has found her style, her sound. I don't know anyone else who's doing the straight backs and the wooden beads right now. So I think that we're finally getting into Doechii. I don't want to say finding herself, but I'm no, this is what I said was going to happen 2 years ago. You just got to give her some time, and now we're here.
So I guess my question is and I take this in consideration considering that a lot of the rap genre thrives on references and samples and, understanding hip hop history. And, it seems like something that Doechii definitely appreciates. Not only that, but since that comparison video went viral, I've been seeing a lot of discourse about Doechii has no real identity. She has no real brand, or her brand is too similar to that of Nicki Minaj, which I don't get at all, because Nicki has a very coherent aesthetic and brand and always has. It's not like Doechii is out here with all pink everything and an alter ego persona, you know what I mean? She has a brand and aesthetic, but it's very different. It just has me thinking about in the age of modern internet stan cultures where these fandoms are so diehard for these artists, especially if they came up in the 2010s, that's when they got popular, they have a little bit of a legacy. It feels like these newer artists almost have to work a bit to earn the approval of fan bases who are closely associated with a similar aesthetic. It reminds me of, Taylor Swift fans love Gracie Abrams and they love Sabrina Carpenter, and it's very clear that Taylor Swift has expressed that same love back to them. But then you take somebody like Olivia Rodrigo, who also has very heavy Taylor Swift influences, and Taylor Swift hasn't really acknowledged her publicly all that much, and so you see a lot more Swifties, and I'm just saying generally, I'm not saying every single Swiftie is like this, who are more willing to throw around the Taylor Swift is being copied by Olivia Rodrigo claim. And then this is something that I've been asking myself recently, not even just as it relates to musical artists, but how we discuss all art. What does brand mean? You know what I mean? What do eras mean? what do visuals mean? Because now instead of just enjoying music, everyone online talks as if they're a PR agent and they throw these terms around as if they have any significance beyond like, I like this particular aesthetic that this artist is choosing for this sound at this moment in time. I brought up this example before in previous videos, but a lot of people have accused Olivia Rodrigo in particular of like not evolving her sound and not, you know, upgrading to this new era, and it's literally because both of her albums that she's put out have like the same color palette, like they're both purple, so that signifies to people that like she's not working hard enough to push herself forward. And it's like, do you people understand how you sound? You do not work in marketing. You do not work in music marketing. You don't know what you're talking about. You are a baby with an iPhone who is easily transfixed by various changing colors and shapes. And I don't know, maybe I'm the simple one, but I just don't understand what people are looking for in music anymore when it comes to, you know, branding and originality, right? Because I look at someone like Doechii and I go, wow, I haven't seen somebody do what she's doing and sound the way that she's sounding and perform the way that she's performing in a long time. Maybe I have in the past, but I can't really draw a direct comparison right now. And so that's exciting to me. Her music is exciting to me. And all taste is subjective at the end of the day. I'm not saying that you have to like Doechii's music or her aesthetic or whatever. I just think that when an artist gets popular, people want to be contrarian. It is a natural human inclination, especially on the internet, but people want to like go out of their way to have a unique take or a take that sounds more nuanced than that, and so they're like, I don't like this person's identity or their branding.
But I also firmly believe that people have the right to dislike things, but I'm also like, if you're gonna sit here and be loud about disliking it, can you please articulate to me what it is that you dislike? Like that's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. Because if I dislike something, I can tell you why I don't like it. And if I can't, I'm just like, sorry, y'all. I don't have a reason. It just doesn't sit right with me. But y'all will be like, I just don't like Doechii, point blank, period. No sources cited, even for your opinion, but then want us to just dislike her because you do. Why does that make any sense? If it's your opinion, yeah, you're entitled to your opinion, but don't you have your opinion for a reason? Don't you have evidence to back up your opinion? And I think part of it, especially as someone who does a lot of content on pop culture, popular people, I do think that a lot of us just don't like to like the basic stuff or don't like to like the popular stuff, because there is also that thing of, man, I love Doechii in 2019 when no one knew who she was. Now that people like her, I just don't like her anymore. And I'm like, damn, why is that Doechii's fault? You know, like you liked her when like you liked her until she could pay her bills. Like what? That doesn't make any damn sense. I do think some of it is projection and wanting to be super unique and feeling like a lot of these artists and whoever else, they're helping us form that unique identity. So if they're no longer a part of that, we're like, nope, we've got to shed it. And like sometimes it's like things that are popular for a reason. It's okay if something resonates with millions of people. It's okay to be one of those millions of people. It's fine.
Exactly. Like I feel like a lot of it, yeah, like you said, comes from the need to just like be this contrarian all the time.
Yes.
Of like, you know, I need to have this extremely kind of like curated taste, and I need to be on things before other people. I need to be at the forefront of this culture, when in reality, right, like we are all being fed the same algorithms. That's kind of how like music and culture works now, where it's like we are all consuming the same stuff. We might not like it all or have the same opinion on all of it, but it's all being like shown to us in the same way. And I think people just like have this inherent need to like want to differentiate themselves, but it's like it comes at the cost of like, okay, well now you're just hating for the sake of hating.
And I'm like,
it's like
there's a difference between disliking and just hating, just shitting on. I definitely agree.
And I think that's a conversation worth having, you know, once an artist is legacied and they've had enough eras, and you can talk about like their, you know, shift in aesthetic and sound over like a period of time. That's like valid and warranted cultural analysis, and we have that going on now with like Beyonce and Taylor Swift and Lady Gaga. But for new artists, it's like, what are you comparing it to? At that point, saying that you don't like their brand just means that you don't like their music. Which brings me to my next point. Let's do some industry plant discourse. Yay! Woohoo! Yippee! None of you know what an industry plant is. Like, none of you know what industry plant, like those two words and how those words exist together as a phrase. None of you know what it means. One, people are like, oh, she's an industry plant, and that's why she's popular.
Oh my, no. I've banned that phrase from my channel. We don't like, no.
By definition, an industry plant is a musician who presents themselves as being self-made or independent, despite having access to capital and resources via wealth or nepotism, or just having, support from a record label, but they're branding themselves as like this small-time musician who made it big. So for example, Gracie Abrams is not an industry plant, she is just a nepo baby. She has never hidden the fact that her father is J.J. Abrams. They have the same last name. She could maybe, dodge the question in terms of what her nepotism connections in the entertainment industry have done for her in the music industry, but she's never pretended that she came from nothing and randomly got discovered. Because that's what an industry plant is. So Doechii is getting the industry plant accusations thrown at her right now because she's in everything and she's, featuring on all these new songs, and that's because she is just popular. She went from a more underground, lesser known artist to a popular artist. And forgive me if I'm wrong, but isn't that what we want, right? Don't we want artists who put in the work to get discovered and get popular? Is that not the goal of supporting artists so that they reach mainstream success? I don't know if this is a social media thing. People are kind of mad at how social media marketing has sort of diluted the music industry to the point where in order to get discovered, there's a good chance you need a song to go viral on TikTok. And I understand the problems with that, but I feel that's a completely independent issue of artists who are looking to market their music that way. And Doechii totally did do that. She had a lot of, viral TikTok sounds before she really made it to the big time, and that no doubt played a role in her success. Something similar also happened recently with Lola Young, who had a hit Messy go viral on TikTok, and now she's a bigger and bigger star. She performed on The Tonight Show recently. She's kind of popping up in more places. And people online started accusing her of being both a nepo baby and an industry plant because her aunt wrote The Gruffalo, which is a children's book. And also that she went to the Brit School, which is a creative and performing arts school in England. And sure, we can have a conversation about access and how these schools get funded might contribute to a lack of diversity in terms of the people who are able to, attend due to their socioeconomic status, who we might not ever hear from. That's a totally valid conversation to have, but to tie that to her aunt wrote The Gruffalo, every minorly famous person in the UK is in a secret cabal, Lola Young is in the pocket of big children's book. It's insane. You sound insane. I also want to do a little bit of a detour here as to how the industry plant discourse relates to conspiracy brain. And I mentioned Lola Young as an example, but another example that I have is Chappell Roan, who obviously had this meteoric rise to fame that we've discussed many times on the channel before, right? That happened kind of within the last year. And so as Chappell got more popular, a lot of people started digging into her background. And one of the things that people took note of was that she went to a performing arts summer camp called Interlochen School for the Arts. This is a summer camp in Michigan with many notable alumni. They have all kinds of creative programs, and music and songwriting is one of them. And this conspiracy in particular was that Chappell Roan not only is an industry plant, but she's an industry plant because she went to Interlochen, which is a school and a program that at one point had funding from Jeffrey Epstein. Not good, totally understand that. But the direct correlation there that this, this theory, this crackpot theory that people came up with was that Chappell Roan is popular because, she went to the Epstein music camp and sold her soul to the Epstein music camp. Now here's the plot twist you might not have seen coming. I went to the Epstein music camp. I didn't go there for music. I went there for screenwriting. But I was there the same time as Chappell Roan. We are in the same Interlochen alumni Facebook group. I went there in high school. And the crazy thing is that people so confidently talk out of their ass because I went to this camp. I can assure you there was no Epstein behavior going on there. People are just stupid. They're just stupid. Not only that, but that couldn't be farther from the truth about what Interlochen actually is, because they were, kind of a high-profile camp, and so they were so strict. I had to get up at 6 a.m. every day and do chores before I left my cabin to go to my classes. I had to wear a very specific uniform. There was one time where we were playing Cards Against Humanity outside, and a staff member told us to stop because they were touring new students and they didn't want us playing, like, you know, a profanity-laced game. And that's not me, like, talking bad about the camp. I actually had a very wonderful experience there, but, like, that just goes to show you, like, the information disconnect with people being like, oh, you know, Chapel Roan did, like, sexual debauchery at the Epstein music camp, and, like, that did not happen. Nobody has critical thinking skills anymore. They just literally make stuff up. Anyway, like, it's not rocket science, you know what I mean? This artist, who, yeah, probably got some popularity due to their social media success, started getting more listeners and more of a dedicated fan base, and so when record labels and marketing executives pick up on who is popular and what's popular, they're going to put those people in more things that you can watch and listen to. That's how, like, getting famous works. I think the people with the industry plant takes are, like, you know, in two groups at the end of the day. It's like bad faith actors who are being deliberately obtuse and just want to hate on a successful black woman. And then it's other people who are frustrated at the access issue and the way that what we listen to and who we determine to be famous or whatever, a lot of the time is dictated by algorithms. But that's more of an onus on how the music industry works as a whole, and its dependence on streaming for a means of music discovery because radio is dead, and less unlike the actual artists who are benefiting from that system. And I would argue that they, you know, do have to put some amount of work in to stand out among a sea of people posting their music to TikTok. Doechi's sound is really unique, and I feel like that's why her sounds got very catchy, and I feel like that's why she's translating so well to the mainstream. Now, as I said at the beginning of this video, this is not a problem that ends with Doechii. This happens pretty much every time a female artist gains, you know, some kind of popularity in online spaces. And I'm really tired of that, guys. I'm really tired of it. Ultimately, it just feels like female artists, especially if they're kind of like new in whatever respective scene that they're in, are constantly being held to this moving target of a standard. And again, I just want to reiterate that this is independent of like what you think of people's actual music, because a lot of times, you know, that's not what's being critiqued. That's the problem, is that people don't want to like articulate their reasons for not liking XYZ album or song, but they are more than willing to become brand experts to critique the person, or marketing and image experts to critique how a person is behaving online. A big example of this right now is the online firestorm happening over indie singer Biba Doobie. All week on TikTok, I just investigated this recently, and I can't believe how blown out of proportion it is. People were like, oh my god, Biba Doobie's crashing out, like she can't take any criticism, it's so crazy, why is she acting so crazy? And it's literally just because she saw this meme.
Artists who can't sing versus artists who can sing.
Can't remember how to say your name, let alone count all the freckles on your face.
And she was like, this is weird. I don't like this. This is pissing me off. Which, okay, maybe you don't like how she responded. Maybe you think that's like a little bit immature because she's talking about some bullshit meme or whatever. But how is that a crash out? You know what I mean? How is not knowing the context to an NBA YoungBoy meme equivalent to like being out of touch with online fan bases?
We're allowed to have feelings. I'm allowed to respond to whoever the hell I want to respond to. It's my channel. It's like, we're all human beings. People are allowed to have feelings. I really don't agree with the idea of, well, you signed up for it. You know, people can say whatever they want to say. It's like, absolutely. And I can respond however I want to respond. I can crash out. I don't have to be the bigger person. If I choose to, you're welcome. But no, that's not a requirement. People can react to mistreatment. People can be offended if they choose to be offended. And you know, if that pisses off the Biba Doobie fans and they hate her because she can't take a joke, oh fucking well. Like, she's allowed to be upset about that. On the internet, people are just so rude, evil, mean, abusive, and it's not just a joke. Like, I don't know how old you are, but I'm almost 27, and it's getting back into like how the internet was when we were like in middle school, where you could just like say anything, drop any slur, everything's just irony poison. I feel like we got away from that for a little bit, but now we're back. Everybody's fat, everyone's ugly, everyone's aging terribly, and you're just allowed to say it.
And also, like, the standards for which, like, women online, like, there is no right way for a woman to behave online. You know what I mean? Like, in reference to this Biba Doobie thing and Chapel Roan and whoever else, it's like, however you respond is going to be deemed wrong by somebody. So it's like, what are you supposed to do?
And it's like, sometimes, I don't know if you feel this way, but even on like a microcosm, it'll drive me crazy. And I'm like, I couldn't imagine having 10 times as many people know who I am. Like, this is like small potatoes. And like, even then it'll drive me crazy. I couldn't imagine actually being a famous person. I wouldn't make it.
We experience it on like this minor level, but like you never know how your brain chemistry is gonna change if you have like 1,000 people who don't know you reevaluating your every single move. Like I would crash out too.
Or people will speak to you as if it's your first day on earth just because you don't drop your resume every single time you want to make a point about something. It's like, I don't only exist in the little YouTube box, you know, like I'm a tax-paying American citizen. I'm a grown adult, just like you may or may not be. It's ridiculous.
And sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're like 16 years old and they come on
here
and
like,
they pretend like
I'm just a kid. And I'm like, well, you just called me a bitch. So, like, you came at me like we were equals. You know how old I am.
Thank you so much for watching, you guys. A reminder, I haven't done this in a while. You can connect with me at all this social media listed in the link tree, which can be found in the description down below. Also, I have this other video that I posted last week that didn't get as much traction as my normal videos. It wasn't in some people's inboxes, and that's really annoying. So if you missed it, it's a good one. Be sure to give it a watch. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.